Good afternoon, students. Again, continuing with the same class. Till now, we have dealt up to the blood grouping and cross matching. The next portion is of the blood biochemistry. So, what is blood biochemistry? Let's see. This discipline is associated with analysis of body fluids such as serum, plasma, urine, cerebrospinal fluid, pleural fluid, etc. Means the study is mainly associated with the analysis. There is the analysis or checking of the body fluids such as serum, plasma, urine, cerebrospinal fluid, and pleural fluid, etc. Serum is the most commonly used fluid for analyzing substances such as glucose, urea, creatinine, bilirubin, different enzymes for diagnosis and monitoring of the disease. So we can see that the serum is the most commonly used fluid and it is used for analyzing substances such as glucose, urea, creatinine, bilirubin and different kinds of enzymes. So for diagnosis and monitoring of this disease, some tests are ordered. For this, the serum is used to determine, and some tests are ordered, like we can see the such as a panel, such as the liver function test. In this, we will analyze bilirubin, aspartate aminotransferase, alanine aminotransferase, and alkaline phosphate, which together help in establishing the derangement process and severity. So, with the help of serum, we can see substances like glucose, urea, creatinine, and in the same way, through this panel, we can check the functions of liver also, especially bilirubin, aspartate aminotransferase, alanine aminotransferase, alkaline phosphate. Together, they help in establishing the derangement process and the severity. Means the arrangement will be made proper. Sample collection in blood biochemistry, like body sample fluids are taken as a sample. So, sample collection and preparation is done by two methods. First one is serum. This is the yellow fluid obtained after the blood is allowed to clot and centrifuge. Centrifuge means gather towards the center point. Then plasma. This is obtained by centrifuging the blood after addition of anticoagulant. Firstly, serum is taken when the blood is allowed to clot, and being at one point when the anticoagulant is added in the same blood, then the blood which centrifuged at one point, then it will be called as plasma. Some common blood biochemistry tests are: first one is the plasma glucose estimation. What happens in plasma glucose estimation? Plasma glucose is commonly ordered test. It is commonly ordered test. The container should contain potassium oxalate. Potassium oxalate must be there. Sodium fluoride mixture 3:1 ratio at 3 mg per ml blood. Sodium fluoride inhibits glycolysis, and samples without this preservatives may show reduced value for glucose. Three types of plasma samples can be collected for glucose estimation. Here it is saying that plasma is a commonly ordered test when there is a need to be filled. Then the test is performed as a container should contain potassium oxalate, sodium hydroxide, fluoride mixture in the 3:1 ratio, and at 3 mg per ml per blood should be added. So sodium fluoride exhibits what? Glycolysis. It helps in breakdown of glucose, and the samples without this preservative may reduce the values for glucose. So they may have preservatives, otherwise the value of glucose may be reduced. Three types of plasma sample can be collected. These are, we will see next, fasting sample. Here the patient is asked not to eat or drink anything after dinner except the plain water, and sample is collected in the next morning. Means patient is not allowed to eat or drink anything before the dinner, after the dinner, and plain water is only allowed. Then a sample is collected in the next morning, like they are keeping fast time. Then postprandial sample. Postprandial sample, what happens? After obtaining the fasting sample, patient is given glucose orally, which is amount is 75 gram commonly used, and blood sample is taken after 2 hours. So they will be allowed to eat a pill. Then after that blood sample is taken, and that pill will be of glucose only. The third one is the random blood sugar sample. In this the blood sample is collected any time without any relation to meals. Now we can see the normal plasma glucose level in our body. So in fasting the normal level should come 70 to 110 mg per dl. In postprandial the value should come 80 to 140 mg per dl, and in random it will come more than 140 mg per dl. Glucose can be measured as a bedside test in ward or clinic by using glucometer. If the value is more than 160 in random, so the patient will be called as diabetes mellitus or hyperglycemia. So the value can be measured by bedside by using glucometer. In this test, a drop of blood usually obtained by finger pricking. Here also the pricking method is used, and is usually placed on the special strip impregnated with chemicals. The strip is there, it have chemicals, and results are read on an electronic device. This method provides immediate blood glucose values. We shortly say as a GRBS test, glucose random blood sugar test. Then second is serum urea. Urea is formed in liver from ammonia, which is a toxic byproduct of amino acid breakdown. Urea is water soluble and is excreted by the kidney. So here we say what? That urea is formed in the liver from ammonia. Ammonia is there, and which is a toxic byproduct of ammonic acid broke down. When amino acid break down in our body, then urea is produced. So it is soluble in water and it is excreted through kidney also. So this blood glucose test, blood biochemistry test is having three types. First one is a plasma glucose estimation, in which fasting blood sugar, postprandial sample and random sample comes. Then there is serum urea, and the third one is a serum creatinine. Let us see serum urea level, how it increases. The cause of increased serum urea level is that pre-renal causes, means before the kidney causes, like causes which are just affecting the kidney, like pre-renal causes. It is not inside the kidney. Those things coming outside of the kidney and touching the kidney, that's the pre-renal causes. Like reduced blood supply to kidney, like blood is coming, then blood is going in the kidney, not inside the kidney. Okay. Pre-renal causes, what it causes? It causes dehydration, blood loss, reduced cardiac output. Then renal causes inside the kidney. Acute gluconephritis, diabetic nephropathy, nephrotoxic drugs. Then post-renal causes means outside the kidney. That is obstruction to urine outflow, stones in the ureter or bladder, tumors, prostate enlargement in males, and urethral stricture. Usually we say kidney stone. Then third one is the serum creatinine. Creatinine is a waste product of creatine, a muscle protein, and is produced constant amount daily. So creatine muscle protein having its waste product called as creatinine, It is excreted in urine. It goes out through urine, and its serum level are used as an indicator of glomerular filtration rate. As in kidney, there is a bowel capsule or glomerular capsule through which the glomerular liquid is filtrated. So, glomerular filtration rate is checked by the creatinine serum level. Creatinine is considered as a better indicator of renal function causes. Creatinine is considered as a better indicator, and some creatinine can be increased in both renal and post-renal causes. There are some creatinine level which can increase in post-renal and renal causes both, which is shown in the previous table you see. It also shows that urea better indication of renal function because urea its level are not affected by dietary protein intake. Now the normal values of the creatinine. So we are going to see the normal values of the creatinine. The normal values of creatinine is male is having 0.9 to 1.5 mg per dl and female 0.6 to 1.1 mg per dl. Now we will talk about the blood gases. So till now we have discussed about the blood biochemistry, in which the sample is collected and prepared by two methods, that is serum and plasma. Some blood biochemistry tests we have seen in it. Plasma glucose estimation test was there. It was 3 types: fasting, postprandial and random. Then second one was serum urea test, in which there was increase in causes like pre-renal causes, renal causes and post-renal causes. And third one is serum creatinine, and it's a good indicator of kidney function. Now I will discuss about the blood gases. The pH of blood is normally 7.36 to 7.42. It's very important. You must know what is the normal pH of our blood. That is 7.36 to 7.42. Patient's acid-base balance and blood gas level are used for assessment in life-threatening process. So, this acid-base balance between the blood and blood gases both are used as assessment in life-threatening situation, which can lead to death. In those situations, we used to do this. And that blood gases can be like partial pressure of oxygen, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, these type of things. Various metabolic processes lead to production of acids which are neutralized by buffer present in body, such as bicarbonate, carbonic acid system and hemoglobin. Here we can see that there are various metabolic processes which lead to production of acids which are neutralized by buffer present in the body. There is a buffer system in the body in which the ions are equalized, such as bicarbonate, carbonic acid system and hemoglobin. Disturbance in acid-base balance. Let's see. Today we will deal up to blood culture only. So, disturbance in acid-base balance, it can be of two types, metabolic and respiratory. First, let's see respiratory acidosis. Respiratory acidosis, accumulation of H2CO3 bicarbonate due to impaired respiration is not paired, such as pneumonia, emphysema, etc. Respiratory alkalosis, decrease in bicarbonate due to voluntary or involuntary hyperventilation. There is increased amount of blood flowing in the body, and there is increased amount of oxygen in our body. So, due to voluntary or involuntary hyperventilation, decreased amount of H2CO3 is seen. Metabolic acidosis, this occurs when either the body is produced excess acid or kidneys are not removing adequate acid. Example, lactic acidosis, diabetic ketoacidosis. So here you can see that it occurs in two conditions. Either the body produces much acid or kidneys are not removing the adequate acid. So already it is in the kidney, so it will harm the body. Like example, lactic acidosis, diabetic ketoacidosis. Now we are going to deal the next one. That is the metabolic alkalosis. Metabolic alkalosis. This is caused due to excessive loss of acid from body. So there is excessive loss of acid from the body. Example, severe vomiting. How the acid will be lost? That is through vomiting only, through urination also. Blood gas analysis provide information about the following. So in this, the bicarbonate acid H2CO3 is there. So blood gases can also provide information about adequacy of ventilation and oxygenation, how many amount of oxygen is there in our body. Then assessment of acid-base status by measuring the respiratory and non-respiratory components. Yes, acid-base status can be also seen by measuring the respiratory and non-respiratory components. Then sample collection. For blood analysis, arterial sample is used. So arterial blood gas is used. That is why it is called as arterial sample is used, which is usually collected in heparinized syringe. Heparin containing heparin syringe. Syringe can be heparinized, means clotting factor helper. Heparin is here. By drawing up a small amount of liquid heparin and squeezing it out again to remove the air bubbles. Yes. Most common site for sample collection is radial artery, but femoral artery and other sites may be used. Here we can see that the femoral artery is towards our thumb only. So from there also the blood can be connected. Radial artery is also there. Femoral artery is in our radial arteries in our thumb area, and femoral arteries through the near the leg area. Sample should be processed immediately and exposure to air should be avoided. Reasons for using arterial blood rather than venous blood to measure blood gases. Why we are using arterial blood and when venous blood are not used? Because venous blood is an extremity, gives information mostly about that extremity. In our body, venous blood is more in amount, so it will give only about the extremities. We will not be able to know which is partially left in our body, which gas or something is left in our body liquid. The metabolism in the extremity can differ from the metabolism in the body as a whole. As a whole we are not able to differentiate. The difference is accentuated in shock when the extremity is cold or under perfused, and with local exercise extremity such as opening and closing of the wrist. Whereas in shock the difference can be seen when extremity is cold or under perfused, and with the local exercise of extremity such as opening and closing of the fist, we can see whether the blood is collected more or not. The components of blood gas analysis are the same I told. What are the things? It will come in arterial blood gas or ABG sample. Let us see. These are pH 7.36 to 7.42, normal range parameter. Partial arterial pressure of oxygen is 75 to 100 mm of Hg. Then partial arterial pressure of carbon dioxide is 35 to 45 mm of Hg. Then bicarbonate concentration is 22 to 26 milliequivalent per liter. Now we are going to deal with the blood culture. What is blood culture? Bacteremia is an important part in any systemic infection, and hence bacteremia, that means presence of bacteria in the blood, is important for any systemic infection like fever, cold, etc. And blood culture requires special significance in specific treatment and may prove to be life-saving. So in this we have to take the culture from the blood and take its sample and do the culture and sensitivity test. Then we have to see that whether they are causing any harm to our body or not, and infections can be prevented. A diagnosis of bacteremia can only be made by growing pathogenic agents on the suitable culture media, and if they are not suitable for body, so their pathogenic agents should be there, so that the diagnosis can be made suitable. Sample collection. Let us see what is sample collection. As with other microbial procedures, a strict asepsis technique is also required during sample collection and transportation. Patient's skin is cleaned with spirit alcohol and betadine is applied to the sampling site. Sterile gloves should be used to minimize the contamination. A minimum of 10 ml of blood is taken, yes, through venipuncture. Venipuncture means in the veins the injections are inserted and bloods are taken. That should be of 10 ml and injected in 2 or more blood culture bottles, 5 ml in each bottle, with specific media for aerobic and anaerobic organism. It should be ensured that ratio of blood and media is maintained at 1:1 ratio. Care needs to be taken that the bottles are not contaminated with bacteria from staff members and other patients. So here we see that for microbial procedure, microbiological procedure, strict asepsis means strict cleaning of hands should be there, and transportation should be also good, not it should disturb. And to collect the blood, patient's hand should be rubbed with spirit alcohol, then betadine to be applied, then sterile gloves to be used, then minimum 10 ml of blood is taken through venipuncture, then it is injected into 2 or more blood culture bottles, 5 ml with there is having specific media for anaerobic and aerobic organism, as they have been introduced to pathogen, and then it should be ensured that the ratio of blood and the media is 1:1 only in that bottle. Care needs to be taken that the bottles are not contaminated with bacteria. Bacteria should not be contaminate the bottles as they go from staff members or other patient to that bottle. So that care should be taken. The next portion is bone marrow examination that I will deal in lecture 1. Thank you.